I recently tried to film an entire YouTube video on this camera, the DJI Pocket 3. This thing's been around for the last 3 or 4 years. Tons of YouTubers have made videos about it. It's a powerhouse. But one feature in particular blew my mind about this camera. Let's get into it. Now, I picked this camera up a couple of months ago, mostly because I didn't like having to unpack my giant gimbal every time I wanted a couple of like gimbal-esque shots. The fact that this thing has a 1-inch camera sensor in it is pretty impressive given that it's so damn small. That's one huge selling feature, and a bunch of people have already talked about that. 1-inch sensor, you get a whole built-in gimbal, that's pretty sweet. Now, when I've used it, it's been a little bit hit or miss. You really have to get your settings right on this, and if you're not shooting in 10-bit color, like, why? That's another huge thing about this. You should be shooting in D-Log and shooting in 10-bit. That has helped out a bunch of my footage, but this one feature actually blew my mind. It really blew my mind. So why did I pick to shoot a YouTube video on this camera specifically? Well, the video was a kind of this or that style, and I wanted it to be a little bit more low-key, and I wanted to be able to move around a little bit. I didn't want it locked off on one of my studio cameras, and so I wanted it to be able to follow me around as I kind of moved and talked about different platforms. This camera has auto tracking, and so you just tap your face on the screen and it'll track you, and as you move around, it'll follow you around the screen, which is really, really cool. That's probably the biggest reason why I chose to try and use this camera on my last YouTube video. Now, what was most impressive that I want to share with you guys is when I pulled it into Davinci Resolve. So I think that on its own, this camera is already pretty great. When you pair this with Davinci Resolve and the color management tools, you can get this little camera that's right now on Amazon for $550. You can get this little camera to look like my $5,000 studio camera. Let's get into it, and I'll show you exactly what I did and how easy it was to color match this thing to my studio cameras. Check it out. Okay, so hopping into Davinci Resolve, this is honestly where things start to get really interesting and where I got really impressed with this camera. So let me show you what I did. First off, another reason why I went with this camera for this particular project is because I knew I was going to be delivering not only onto YouTube in 16:9, but I wanted vertical short content for this as well. So I knew I wanted some content in 9:16. The fact that the DJI Osmo Pocket shoots in a square format like this is so useful. This is what the DJI looks like straight out of camera. And this is a shot from another day, what my studio looks like out of my A7s3 and my FX3 that I use every single day. I have my own custom LUT that I've designed to just drop on, and it has all of the color correction done for me. That way I can move a little bit faster on these YouTube videos. Pretty much done. I can move on. I've got all my exposure. I've got the color set exactly how I want it, and I can just move on. I tried coming into this because it's similar log footage. I thought, okay, let me try and just drop this on here. Kind of looks like trash. So that wasn't going to work. My next option was, okay, well, I can go get DJI's Osmo Pocket. They have a LUT, right? Like maybe that will get me closer to my A7s3 LUT that I use every single day. So DJI has their Osmo Pocket, and drop that on. That looks better. Obviously, it brought the exposure kind of close, but these two shots are not cutting together, right? So it takes a little bit more work, but hang on with me because this is where it got impressive for me. So I took that off and I thought, okay, I'm going to start with a color space transform. So I bring the color space transform and I thought I want to try and get this DJI footage into my A7S3 footage as best I can. So I started over here and I went to DJI D-Gamut, and then for the input gamma, I came down and found DJI D-Log, which is exactly what I shot it in. And instead of going out to Rec 709, I brought it into Sony S-Gamut 3 Cine, because that's what the FX3 shoots on. And then for the output gamma, same thing, Sony S-Log 3, okay? So I brought that in. Now it's technically converted from DJI's log footage into Sony's log footage. I added a new node, and I dropped my custom Studio Lut onto it. Not great. Kind of blew everything out and doesn't look fantastic. I'm going to work backwards from this CST node because anything we do after this is just going to be taking on this crazy exposure and the color space into Sony S-Log. So working backwards, Shift S, I can add a serial node before that color space transform, and I'm going to just label this as exposure. And all I'm trying to do right now is bring down this crazy exposure. So I really like the HDR panel for messing with exposure in any major stop. I think it relates a little bit more to what it actually feels like pulling down stops on a camera. And I'll use my light exposure for the moment because that basically takes over all of the top half of the waveform scope. So I'll grab the light exposure and I'll start to bring that down. And what already impressed me is how much I can pull with that overexposed kind of crappy image, and I can bring that back to something that looks really nice. So that already, that compared to my second shot from my A7S3 looks really good. What I'm noticing here, and I always keep these two side by side so that I can kind of work back and forth. I'm noticing skin tone wise, this skin tone is just a little bit too red, and so I want to bring some more of that yellow back in. So I can do that two different ways. One, I can add before my exposure, so I'm kind of working backwards now from what I started with, and keep adding nodes backwards until I get to where I want to be. So I'll come into the temperature slider and I'll just add a little bit more into the yellow on the temperature side by about 160. That worked for me, and that already looks a whole lot better. Now, the next thing I can do is after I do these two nodes, usually after we do basic color and then basic exposure, I'll add a serial node after the exposure, but before the CST. And I just want to bring down some of the saturation. I want to bring down all of it by just a little bit. And then definitely in the skin tones, that feels like these skin tones were a little bit more exaggerated on the DJI. So I'll come into my curves and then hue versus saturation. I'll just select the skin tone specifically. And you can already see on that kind of waveform that, yeah, the oranges definitely spiked a lot. So I can bring that back down, and like already this looks so good. Now my LUT has a little S-curve built in where I raise up the shadows just a little bit and smooth the S-curve out, and then I bring down the highlights a little bit and I smooth that S-curve out. I see a little bit of blue shift in that. So one thing that we could do if we want to move this around just a touch is that I could come into kind of my shadows, whatever's hitting that. So again, I'm using that HDR panel, and whatever's hitting this back slat wall of mine, which looks like it's a lot of the shadow saturation, and I can just push that just a little bit, not even that much, but just a little bit over into the yellows and oranges, and already that took out a lot of that blue that we were looking at. It put my greens back into a good spot that's similar. If I'm looking at these greens in this corner, now that's a lot more similar to these greens over here in this corner. And like, that amazed me that in just a couple of clicks and just a couple like working backwards from a LUT that I already had that was for a totally different camera, I can get really, really close to color matching, where is it? This tiny little camera to my very expensive cinema camera. Like, it blew my mind. So I know a bunch of people have recommended this, and I gotta say, I'm jumping on that bandwagon. I know I'm a little bit late, but like, man, sitting there and color correcting that and getting it that close to my regular FX3 camera footage blew my mind. So I hope this helps. I definitely think if you're gonna pick one of these up, then check out Davinci Resolve and get really good at coloring, because you can do so much with their color science. I am officially impressed by the camera. So until next time, keep creating. Peace.